I am the great, terrible, and alluring Tantalizer. Bow before me, mortals, worship at my feet, and allow me to swallow your souls.
Welcome to B-Movie Enema the series. I'm Jeff Arbuckle.
A fool and a servant of my darkness.
Right, well, this should be Nurse Disembody.
There is no Nurse Disembody, only Tantalizer.
Alright, well, anyway, so yeah, this season...
I have been freed. Kneel before me, puny mortals.
Are you done? Can I continue?
You may.
Okay, great. So anyway, if you've been watching the show this season...
This show will soon be the vehicle to spread my will and demonic powers.
So yeah, I've had a poop chute malfunction. Oh, hey man, I'm not blaming you. It's not you. And hey, by the way, I'm glad that you're feeling better, the chat and everything. But yeah, there's been a malfunction, and I had a guy out here last week to take a look, and he found dingleberries. Apparently, the poop chute was loaded with them, and some of them turned out to be kind of evil.
I am the evil embodiment of all that is evil.
See what I mean? Anyway, it's caused all sorts of problems and things to happen over the last several weeks. Apparently, once my poop chute guy, Bart Apple, started knocking those dingleberries loose, one or more of them was, well...
I am the dread Tantalizer.
Yeah, that.
I will seduce your soul and tear it apart with my teeth.
It's been like this for, 3 or 4 or 7 days now. Anyway, Cartoon Face was always into some weird shit, but not quite like this.
Cartoon Face Disembody has been consumed by my power. You will soon join her, mortal.
Now, I admit, things have gotten a little more interesting, and that's not exactly a bad thing. I mean, her new dress code is pretty nice, I guess. I like the fact that she seemingly has an insatiable, well, actually, let's not worry about that part.
You have enjoyed it.
Okay, let's not talk about that. Where was I? Oh yeah, she started doing other weird shit. Like instead of a nice spaghetti dinner the other night, she served raw, barely dead rats. That
was delicious.
It was gross. I had to sneak out and go to Grub and Grog to pick up a grub burger.
Your insolence will not stand. You will obey and stay put and tend to my needs as commanded.
I've hardly had any sleep in a Maniacs. I'm not sure what to do about this. I would like to think that whatever her name is...
The immortal dread Tantalizer.
Yeah, her, it, whatever. She's been trying for the past, 150 hours straight to swallow my soul or other things. It's kind of a nightmare.
You will submit. No one can resist the terrible, immortal dread Tantalizer.
I also think she has possibly eaten a couple of our patients.
You know for a fact I have.
So, yeah, there's that to deal with too, but anyway, all week, Nurse Tantalizer has been saying she has this week's movie, but she's not handed it over yet.
I will show you something evil.
Lady, you've been showing me something evil all week.
No, you doofus. I have the movie Something Evil.
Oh, God, jeez. What is it? Oh, the movie Something Evil. Gotcha. Alright, so this is one of the earliest films made by one Steven Spielberg. Now, Spielberg had been working in TV for a few years at this point, but this actually came a year after his first full film, Duel. Duel would get a theatrical release overseas with a limited US theater run too, and it was a pretty popular movie when it played on the ABC Movie of the Week in 1971. And 1971 was actually a pretty busy year for Mr. Spielberg. Not only did he make Duel, but he also worked on several television series. Most notably, he directed the very first episode of the Columbo main series. Then, in early 1972, this film, Something Evil, was released as a CBS Movie of the Week. And one of the stars of this movie is Darren McGavin, who had just come off an incredibly popular ABC TV movie 10 days earlier with The Night Stalker, the first of two movies that featured his wonderful investigative reporter character, Carl Kolchak. And he's already back on people's TV screens in Something Evil as the TV producer husband of an artist played by Sandy Dennis. Now, Sandy Dennis, just 6 years earlier, was the Academy Award winner for Best Supporting Actress for Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And she had a fairly large career as a major box office draw in the late 60s, but outside of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, her only other real major hit was Neil Simon's The Out-of-Towners, directed by Arthur Hiller and co-starring Jack Lemmon.
Is somebody talking about Academy Award-winning actors Sandy Dennis and Jack Lemmon?
Oh, great. Now you're here too.
Ah, Jeffrey. Look, I think we can probably repair any damage between us.
Excellent! Another soul for me to corrupt and devour. Kneel before your mistress, the ever-sensual, terrible, immortal, dread Tantalizer.
Oh, my lord! Well, it sure does look like you have your hands full, Jeffrey. Perhaps I should leave you to...
No, wait. You might actually be able to help me.
Me? How on earth could I be of assistance with that?
Let me get started with Something Evil, and Dick, we can chat about this and how we might be able to solve the problem with my partner's...
Ascension!
Her illness. Aw, geez, Dick, please tell me that you're finding anything to help me with this. I mean, she's got pretty good aim.
I aim to swallow your soul!
I'm still looking, Jeffrey. I've got the original novels of The Exorcist and Legion by William Peter Blatty, Ira Levin's Rosemary's Baby, the screenplay to The Exorcist, Exorcist 3, not Exorcist 2, worthless, and Rosemary's Baby. I also have the film's 4K Blu-ray restorations.
You know, that's great and all, but she's throwing shit at me right now. I mean, do you have like a Bible or something?
What? No! I'm a film professor. I'm above such things. Oh, maybe Pauline Kael's review of The Exorcist might prove useful.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she didn't like that movie.
Oh, we'll see about that.
Hey, nurse. If I say you can swallow every bit of my soul after this movie is over, will you stop throwing things at me?
I will consider the proposition.
Yeah.
I agree with your terms. At the end of this movie, you will be an eternal slave to my unholy commands.
I'm gonna need you to figure something out, and fast, Dick.
This is a Spielberg film. I'm sure it's about 140 minutes long.
Yeah, about that. It's a 73-minute long movie, and we're already through a third of it.
Oh, yoinks. Okay, I'll read faster.
Good. So, yeah, we've got ourselves a Steven Spielberg movie. We talked a little bit earlier about how Duel was his first actual feature-length movie that he made for TV and eventually got an extended theatrical run. However, Something Evil has some definite Spielbergian elements. The first is that we have a relatively liberal, or at least cosmopolitan couple who is in a place that they aren't super comfortable with, a rural setting. Even at the beginning of this movie, we see that the wife, Marjorie Warden, played by Sandy Dennis, is an artist, and she's kind of taken by the simplicity of the region. Not only can she draw and sketch very well, we also know she is good at creating little trinkets with clay. She's curious about the barn and the house being adorned with a symbol to ward off evil spirits and such. Hey, Poop Shoe, maybe we need to get you one of those.
You will do no such thing. I will be here for all eternity, feasting on human souls.
Yeah, anyway, she makes these trinkets with the symbols on them, but when she gives one to little Stevie, he's like, yeah, that's great, Mom, here, eat some of this PB&J. He doesn't really care, and that's kind of a typical Spielberg thing. The kid is just being a kid and not as engaged with whatever the adults are up to. And what's more, we have the breadwinner of the family, Paul Warden, played by the always great Darren McGavin, and he's playing a TV producer who's seemingly happy to let his wife be happy with whatever she does all day while he commutes 2 hours to New York City to do his thing. And he's not exactly engaged with the goings-on at the farmhouse either, at least at first. Now, I called them cosmopolitan, but that's maybe not exactly fair. Paul works in the city, but I don't get the impression that he makes a ton of money to be able to live in New York City. When the movie opens, Marjorie really seems to fall in love with the house and the quiet of the area. Paul, though, he's not quite as impressed. He looks at the picture that she drew of the home and then the home itself and comes to the simple conclusion that her drawing is far more charming than the real thing. And I like that more or less on a whim, he decides to buy her this house, even though it is really pretty far away from his work. And he's like, well, okay, if you want this house, we can't afford to go to Europe anymore. We can't get you a car for yourself. We can't send little Stevie to summer camp. I mean, imagine that, will you? I mean, he's got the money to buy the sprawling property, but to do so, it cuts out all this other stuff that they won't be able to do now. And it's kind of crazy to think that a TV producer in New York City can't afford one or more of the other things that if they can afford that property. But anyway.
Take a shot whenever someone says Steve or Stevie. Be sloppy drunk while watching the little red-headed child of the devil do weird shit.
That's probably a trick, so maybe don't do that. All right, Dick, find anything more?
Well, I think we have something here. We need to try to find a way to communicate with Nurse Disembody without the demon Tantalizer.
Taint! Tantalizer! Taint!
Oh my.
Yeah, don't mess up her name. She gets really touchy about that.
Noted.
Now, you said something about trying to communicate directly with Nurse Disembody?
Yes. If we could communicate directly with her, maybe we can get her to try to help us cast the demon out. Like she'll be working from within to push out the demon, as we pull the demon on the outside.
Hey, yeah, I like that idea. Any ideas on how to communicate with her?
I think we need to try hypnosis. The demon is on the surface. If we could get the demon possessing her to go to sleep, then we might be able to speak to the real Nurse Disembody in her subconscious.
Wow, Dick, that's a really great plan.
To be fair, I really need to credit my student aide. She double majors in film and psychology.
Huh, fancy, but wait a minute. Were you and your student aide getting that idea from The Exorcist?
Yes, they were able to communicate with Reagan that way.
Yeah, but I don't think that ended well for the psychologist.
Oh yes, but it was just a movie. It probably won't happen to you.
I mean, your idea came from a movie, but okay, well, let's get into the second act of Something Evil. And when we come back, I'm positive everything will be back to normal and Nurse Disembody will be back to her normal, lovely self.
This is my normal self now. Get with the newness, baby. I will never leave this body.
Oh boy.
What up, everyone?
Woohoo! Who wants to party?
Oh, not now.
Oh, Jeffrey, you truly have weird stuff happening to you regularly, don't you?
Oh, you really have no idea.
Yo, is that hot house nurse here? I need someone to take my temperature and, I don't know, do stuff with me. Woo, I'm wasted!
So many souls on that ship. I want them all. I want their collective.
Hey guys! She looks weird!
We'll add her distinctiveness to our own.
Let me see those demon titties!
I will swallow you whole, party Borgs. You will join me and my evil army of the possessed.
That doesn't sound very cool.
Yeah, we make others part of us. Not like the other way around, bro.
This is weird, my dudes. We out. Fucking out of this shit. Fucking weird ass motherfucker.
Well, that kind of just resolved itself, didn't it?
It truly did.
Oh, God. Ah.
Oh, gosh. I don't know what to say, Jeffrey. I really thought that would do something more than it did.
Ooh. Oh, God. Her grip is so strong. I'm pretty sure one of them's dust now.
I really didn't think the first thing she'd do after she went under would grab your testicles and try to pulverize them with her bare hands.
I mean, honestly, it's maybe fair. I've had to make her watch so many bad movies. I suppose I had that coming. Oh.
It's actually kind of amazing that it wasn't even Tantalizer that was causing probable, irreparable testicular damage.
Yeah, she's in there. I mean, she's pissed I've let this go on for a full week. I mean, she's making sure she gets her point across while she still has access to all that demon strength.
You really maybe need to start injecting more higher-brow films into your diet. I can help you out. I have the entire library of Argentinian melodramas if you are interested.
Nah, I'm good. Maybe I would rather get my balls squeezed by a demon lady again.
Well, if you say so.
Dick! Stanley Kubrick makes B-movies in hell!
Well, that's rather uncalled for.
Jeff! Star Trek sucks!
Oh, now you got it coming, you demon bitch.
Bring it on, flat nuts!
Jeff, come back! Don't engage! You're only doing what she wants!
Yeah, I guess you got a point. I need to stop playing her games.
You're a terrible movie host and need to be taken off the air!
Well, you got a point there.
Don't listen to her, Jeffrey! She lies with the devil's tongue!
Actually, Dick, she's kind of telling the truth on that one. I'm not that great of a host.
I think you do just fine.
I appreciate the kind words, Dick.
I really, truly do mean it.
Aw, shucks. I don't even remember why we're the rivals like we are.
Rivals? I never saw us as rivals. I always appreciated your zeal for these types of lower budget and exploitation type movies.
Yeah, well, I've always liked how you would go deeper into themes and understood the allegories and stuff in those much smarter movies.
What are you doing? You should totally continue to be rivals! Whoa, hey, guys, whatever you're doing, keep it up. I don't think she likes it when you're being nice to each other. No, she lies! I'm totally cool! I have never lied to you!
Never?
No, never! I meant it when I said I will swallow your essence and your entire soul!
Well, I think we may be onto something with Nurse Disembody.
How perceptive you are, Richard.
Stop it!
You know what, Richard? I'm really happy you're here to help me deal with this little problem.
And I'm very happy to be here, Jeffrey.
No! You hate each other! Hey! This might be working. Keep it up.
Really? Great!
No! I lied to you! She's mine! Mine, I tell you!
Richard, good sir, what do you make of all this?
Well, I think we really are making headway here, Jeffrey.
This is all so confusing. I mean, first she's grabbing my balls and trying to smash them. Now, whenever we're nice, Nurse Disembody comes back. But then she also says she's lying to us and that Tantaliza is going to keep her forever. I'm so confused.
Do not forget, she will lie while she is possessed.
Come over here, boys, and let me show you how I lie.
What?
What?
That doesn't make any sense.
Are you attempting to seduce us?
What? Of course! I am Tantalizer!
Yeah, that was pretty sloppy, though.
Well, you try seducing modern men and women. I've been trapped for many centuries. I'm out of practice.
Why is that doubt, I hear?
What? No! I am a powerful demon who will feed on your souls.
I don't know. It sure seems like you might be pretty unsure of yourself there, Tantaliza. Richard, I think I know what we need to do.
What? What do you mean? I demand you answer me immediately!
I do think you're right, Jeffrey. Let's begin the exorcism.
Gee, guys, thanks. I'm glad to finally be myself again.
No problem, Cartoon Face, but I don't think I've ever said so many nice things in such a short period of time.
Me neither. Unless, of course, I was talking about a film by Terrence Malick.
It's not every day that you get thrown up on by a horny poop shoot demon lady.
Let alone multiple times.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't have too much control over each part of my body.
So it wasn't you who squeezed my nuts to smithereens and when we hypnotized you earlier to try to communicate with you?
Oh no, that was totally me.
Oh,
But I totally appreciate you two working together to get rid of Tantaliza. She was a real jerk.
It really was our pleasure.
It might just be a little while before I say anything nice again.
Same here. I think I should go and get some rest. I need to work on my lecture on the greatness of Billy Wilder's comedies.
Oh, yeah, well, sure. You go have some fun with that one. Get out of here, Dick.
Until next time, I'll be back before you know it.
Swell, looking forward to it. So yeah, Steven Spielberg's Something Evil. While this is probably clearly a dues sort of thing for the young director, there are still some hallmarks here. He has a mostly absent father who is either too distracted or too busy to be there when the family needs him most. And that whole dynamic of Paul being in New York or Los Angeles and not directly witnessing the weird things that Marjorie is something that we see in almost every haunted house movie. But it also plays to the whole thing that Spielberg struggled with until he became a father himself. A lot of his movies have that guy who is doing a dereliction of his duties to his family. In just a few years' time, Spielberg will make Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and while there's a wonder in this marvelously kind of beautiful conclusion, there's a super dark concept behind it. The Richard Dreyfuss character leaves his wife and children behind to go with the aliens. You can say that his witnessing the spaceship earlier in the movie changed the path he would take in life completely. He still becomes maybe the biggest deadbeat father in history. Now granted, Darren McGavin's Paul character isn't that big of a bad father. He's still completely dismissive of the problems until the very, very end. Otherwise, he doesn't really buy into the boogeyman elements of the haunted and possessed house. So he's dealing with what he thinks is a woman who is slowly losing her sanity, or, as kind of thinly veiled in one scene of the movie, possibly going through the change. It's still a very Spielberg-esque character. Now, I will say that I like the misdirection of the movie. You are made to believe that it was Marjorie who was taken over by the demon and doing the bad things. Nope, it's little Stevie.
Ugh, don't say his name. It's all I heard in this movie.
You were still able to watch the movie while you were possessed?
Oh yeah. When you're kind of locked out of your own body and, in some cases, mind, you just sit back and watch stuff happen. You can't do anything about anything, but you're still hanging out. I just decided to watch Something Evil.
Oh, well, that's kind of unexpected. Anyway, Stevie is played by Johnny Whitaker, and Whitaker was a fairly well-known child actor at the time, and he's pretty good in this. He did a lot of TV, but prior to this movie, he was best known for playing Jody for the entire 138 episodes of Family Affair, and after this, he'd go on to star as the lead in the 1973 MGM production of Tom Sawyer that most people my age and younger probably saw played for us by a teacher in middle school. He'd get another series called Sigmund and the Sea Monsters made by Sid and Marty Krofft. And our kindly old neighbor who knows a lot about what happened on that farm, demons and other occult shit, was played by Ralph Bellamy. Bellamy had a 62-year career, and in the early 40s, he had two pretty good supporting roles in Universal Classic Monster movies by being in The Wolfman and The Ghost of Frankenstein. And it would be his later role as Randolph Duke in 1983's Trading Places that most people of Generation X would know him best. He was one of two brothers, Don Amici's Mortimer being the other, who makes a bet that they could pick up Eddie Murphy on the street and turn him into a stock market success after screwing over Dan Aykroyd's already successful stock trader. He and Amici would reprise those roles as a cameo in 1988's Coming to America. So, yeah, Something Evil is kind of easy to see how it was maybe a little overlooked as a TV movie of the week. It's relatively cheap entertainment. Not that it's bad, it's just kind of dismissed as something interesting and entertaining for the night that it played, but nothing you'd necessarily need to revisit unless it's on TV and the remote is like way over there out of reach or whatever. Sandy Dennis would go on to spend much of the later part of the 70s and the very early 80s working on stage before doing some TV appearances and a few films. She died young at the age of 54 from ovarian cancer. Darren McGavin would, of course, go on to do 20 episodes of Kolchak the Night Stalker, but he did a whole lot more. He did a ton of TV and film, but he had standout roles and performances in A Christmas Story and Billy Madison. Interestingly, he had a major role as one of the trio of antagonists in Robert Redford and Barry Levinson's epic baseball drama, The Natural, but he was actually uncredited for it, which made him stand out even more. The story goes that he replaced another cast actor at the last minute and therefore didn't secure the credit. Nurse, since you were able to apparently watch Something Evil, while you were trapped inside your own body, care to give your final analysis of Steven Spielberg's Something Evil?
Sure thing. Well, right away, I hated that little Stevie kid for no particular reason. He was just this little jerk right away, and I knew he was to blame for all the spooky stuff. I didn't buy into the suspense that it might have been the mom. No, not me. But yeah, you could have made a drinking game out of the number of times and ways someone said that little kid's name. Steve, Stevie, Steverino, Steve, Stevie.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah?
That Tantalizer chick said basically the same thing. She wanted everyone to get drunk, probably to lure them into a trap so she could eat their souls.
Oh, she did? Yeah, that's weird. I'm still here. I've always been a part of you. I'm never leaving. Yeah, anyway, so if I got woken up by the sound of a little kid or a baby crying in the middle of the night, in a barn, in the middle of nowhere, and I don't have a baby, or a baby who I know isn't outside, you bet your ass I wouldn't go outside to check on it. That's not a nighttime problem. That's a next morning in the bright daylight problem. That's just a big old nope from me. And also, if my gardener or yard work guy or whatever he was goes outside with a chicken and slits its throat and spreads the blood around my property, I would hope my husband would recognize that as a weirdo, creepy ritual thing and not something that you just shrug off and say, I don't think there's anything to worry about with that. But still, not a bad little TV movie. I rate Something Evil 3 out of 5 poops. Back to you, Jeff.
Thanks a bunch, Nurse. One final thing I want to call out about Something Evil. That yard guy with the chicken blood, that role was played by Jeff Corey. Now, Corey had a massive career that goes back to 1938 when he was in his mid-20s. While many of his early roles into the late 40s were either uncredited or bit parts, he was working rather regularly. That was until the early 50s, when he was one of many people in Hollywood who were blacklisted by the House Un-American Activities Committee when he refused to give names of potential communists and subversives in the entertainment industry. It was true that he and other leftist actors and personalities did attend some meetings of the Communist Party, but he never joined. He ridiculed the panel and criticized previous testimonies given by other witnesses, and he pretty much felt the whole thing was garbage, and well, he was right. But being blacklisted didn't stop him from having a very successful career as an acting teacher. Some of his students included James Coburn, Jack Nicholson, Jane Fonda, Peter Fonda, James Hong, Bruce Lee, Rita Moreno, Anthony Hopkins, Robin Williams, Barbra Streisand, Leonard Nimoy, and Robert Towne. And by the early 60s, he returned to acting and had roles in The Cincinnati Kid, True Grit, and Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. In all, Corey's career spanned from 1938 until 2000, just a couple of years before he died. Okay, so with that, I'll see everybody next week, and I gotta go put my balls on ice.
And if next week's movie is bad, I'll make sure to crush the other one.
Yikes, well, I really hope you like next week's movie then.
Are you attempting to seduce us? Here's some options.